Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Inside the Markets with Caleb and Brown. Happy New Year. Hope everyone got to have a nice rest over Christmas and New Year's, and hope we're all excited for what's been a very eventful 2025 so far. So first and foremost, I just want to recap on the month of December. A lot of us got to manage to take some time away from the markets, but a lot of us found that quite difficult given the volatility that we had. We did see the market cap for cryptocurrency peak at $3.9 trillion US in the month of December, probably around the 14th or so midway through. We got humbled quite dramatically come the 18th of December with some news with the Fed, which we'll talk about later. We went back to November levels. At the time of recording, we're looking about where we were during the later part of November. So it's important to zoom out a bit. We see these crashes, we see these pumps. If we look at things on a day-to-day basis, we can get awfully emotional about things. If we extrapolate things over a longer term horizon, things are looking a lot more optimistic. So let's get into it. In December 2024, what did that look like for Bitcoin? Well, Bitcoin hit an all-time high of $108,000 US. It hovered around that $100,000 mark for basically the last January to date and December. We have had a pullback closer to the 90K mark, which really spooks people who are looking at short-term, minute-by-minute charts. But once I said before, we need to remember that Bitcoin is up 120% plus in the last 12 months. When you look at things over a longer-term horizon, 120% gain in 12 months, a 5%, a 4% correction, it's a bit silly if that's concerning you too much. If you're not trading with leverage and you're looking at things over a longer term investment horizon, we welcome these pullbacks. It's healthy to have these pullbacks and we should expect them. Much like we expect them in other $1 trillion and $100 billion asset classes, Bitcoin needs these as well to remain healthy. Moving on, so MicroStrategy is now included in the NASDAQ 100. MicroStrategy had a very aggressive Bitcoin strategy over the course of 2024, seeing a 500% increase in the MicroStrategy stock price. This inclusion of MicroStrategy into the NASDAQ 100 is a very optimistic development. It's expected that this will draw a lot more investor attention towards MicroStrategy, which is ultimately good for Bitcoin. That being said, a lot of investors are eyeing to see whether MicroStrategy could penetrate the S&P 500 index in 2025, which would be a huge milestone for cryptocurrency. Having a business like MicroStrategy in the purview of the S&P 500 will certainly be a major win for the industry, particularly with its adoption and investor confidence in cryptocurrency from a more traditional financial lens. Often, cryptocurrency and traditional markets have been segregated, allowing companies like MicroStrategy to penetrate more traditional indexes such as the S&P 500 and of course now recently the NASDAQ 100 really is an optimistic sign of what's to come. Now this is a big one for the month of December, rate cuts. December 18. So inflation concerns are certainly still alive. That's what we know for sure. We mentioned in prior videos, even before Trump won the 2024 election, we mentioned that irrespective of which political candidate is going to win the election period, the troubles with inflation, the cost of living crisis, the fiscal concerns around the world, these things remain irrespective of who wins the election. Now, obviously the markets have responded extremely positively to the Republican sweep and the major win that Trump had with his campaign. That being said, that does not take away from the fact that the last 4 years in this post-COVID economic situation the world has seen has had rising inflation. That is a concern that is going to trouble Trump in his tenure. So specific to December 18, the Fed announced a 25 basis point cut in the federal interest rates. This was priced into the market, so it didn't really do much for volatility. What did impact volatility was despite a modest 25% basis point cut, a large and sharp market correction wiping out $500 billion was incurred because of lack of confidence in the 2025 year and the fact that inflation is still a looming concern. We don't know what precisely will exist in 2025 in terms of the Fed, but a lot of the statements made during the meeting were not seen optimistically by the market, leading to that sharp decline, of which cryptocurrency, as a 24/7 extremely liquid asset class that's still considered a risk-on asset, naturally saw that sharp sell-off. What's in store for January? So let's start with XRP. It's certainly been a very divided and polarizing topic in the world of cryptocurrency investors in the month of November, December, and of course the month of January. Now, we mentioned in last month's video that XRP has had this tremendous surge, largely brought on by one, Trump winning the election, and two, Gary Gensler resigning as chair of the SEC. Now, that resignation signals a lot of investor confidence because he has had a war against crypto, and XRP has been somewhat the poster child for that war. And the price has been heavily suppressed over the last few years, with XRP struggling really to move at all for effectively 3 years at least. Some could argue even more. As a result of that, having this positive momentum with Gary Gensler stepping aside, a more crypto-friendly SEC chair set to start in the near future, and of course Trump's inauguration on the 20th of January, XRP has not only been able to have those surges in prices, which it saw in December, it's been able to remain at those levels. XRP is up 4% in the last 7 days at the time of recording. Most of the market is heavily in the red in that same period, which startles and surprises a lot of XRP naysayers, and it certainly keeps happy and optimistic a lot of those who are invested in the project. A lot of people have been asking what our clients have been doing. XRP has cemented itself as one of our most traded cryptocurrency assets. We have had a lot of profit taking. The narrative that we've had from clients and the messaging we've had from clients has been, I'm up dramatically on my position. Do I hold it to these higher price points? Do I sell it? Do I roll it into altcoins that aren't performing as well? Do I consolidate in stable coins? Look, there's a million different ways that you can go about your own investment thesis. At the end of the day, I will say though, no one's ever gone broke taking a profit. And as a result of that, a lot of our clients have taken the approach of seeing cryptocurrency investing in a lens where there doesn't need to be a binary outcome. It doesn't have to be buy everything at this price, sell everything at that price. You can actually look at the market as a way of gradually entering positions and gradually exiting positions. As a result of that, we have seen a lot of profit taking on XRP, with a lot of profits being rolled, of course, into fiat currencies and more traditional assets. But a lot of the time, people are exploring other avenues, such as we've seen a lot of profit taking directly into the DeFi space, RWAs and AI sectors that have not seen that massive surge in the market cap of their leading projects, and sometimes rolling from heavily high market cap coins into some of the more, the lower ones. Sometimes that meets the risk profile that clients are willing to take, and that's certainly something that you can explore. Moving forward into ETF Optimism. I mentioned just before that the change in the SEC leadership definitely gives a lot of optimism for what that could mean for coins like Solana, XRP, that may want to have an ETF on the horizon. Now, the market is certainly priced in that it's more likely that we will have a more expansive ETF market for cryptocurrencies beyond Ethereum and Bitcoin. In the event that we are to have this, that certainly would be positive for the market. Whether it's priced in, whether it's not going to be so momentous for the market in the event it is priced in, well, time will tell, and that's anyone's guess. What we can say though is if we are to see Solana, Ethereum ETFs, maybe other major cryptocurrencies, if we are to see an Ethereum ETF that enables staking, what this does short term is anyone's guess, but longer term, it's empowering for the cryptocurrency market, and it opens up cryptocurrency investing to a broader range of potential investors. This is positive. Silk Road Bitcoins. This is a new topic. For those who don't know, or for those who don't remember, the Silk Road story marked tremendous controversy, tremendous concern, and it's one of the most interesting stories of Bitcoin's early development. Now, Ross Ulbricht of Silk Road, who Trump has said that he will pardon after becoming president, has been serving a lot of time in prison for his involvement as the leader of the Silk Road marketplace, which did allow for the transaction of illicit goods on a marketplace, and Bitcoin was a currency of choice to enable these transactions to occur. When Silk Road was taken down in 2013, an extremely large sum of Bitcoin was seized by the US government. In fact, 69,370 Bitcoin is held by the US government. It has been held since 2013. Now, in December and in January, there have been murmurs in the market where Bitcoin has been seen to have moved from those wallets, with some Bitcoin associated being moved to a Coinbase Prime wallet and some test transactions and things like that occurring, which has naturally caused a lot of fear that maybe there's going to be a major sell-off. Critically, a US court has authorized the DOJ that they are able to sell the Silk Road Bitcoin. This has not been done yet, but this is valued at approximately 6.5 billion US dollars. Now, that decision concludes a prolonged legal process enabling the DOJ to proceed with that sale. Whether that sale happens during the last few days of Biden's tenure as the president of the USA, that's anyone's guess. If the Bitcoin is not sold and Trump gets into office, perhaps that's more optimistic. Perhaps that suggests that that Bitcoin could be used and retained by the US. In the event that it's sold, it's critical to note that, look, there will be a large sell-off if the Bitcoin is sold, much like there was when Germany sold its tremendously large amount of seized Bitcoin in 2024. What's critical to know, though, is these short-term sell-offs, if you look at it in the week or the day of which that occurs, it's going to be painful. If you look at it over a larger time horizon, no one talks about Germany's Bitcoin sale anymore. The price recovered and launched to new all-time highs only in a few weeks and months after that sale. So long-term, it doesn't really matter. Short-term, it would be painful. Jerome Powell stated recently that we are not allowed to own Bitcoin and have no desire to change the laws. So a lot of people have said, well, if the Bitcoin doesn't get sold from Silk Road, maybe that can form what becomes a US strategic reserve for Bitcoin. Well, that would be fantastic. But there are laws and there are matters of bureaucracy in place that make that not a very simple process. That being said, the Trump Republican sweep does allow for congressional action in the event that Trump wants to move forward with that. So there's a lot of ways you could view this. Time will tell. Lastly, to wrap this up, Trump's inauguration. This is one of the more critical dates to look for in the month of January. So January 20, Trump will make his way into office. Historically, US presidential inaugurations have introduced policy shifts which have caused volatility in the market, investor sentiment, market dynamics. This is going to be impacted. It's going to be one of the biggest days of January and one of the biggest days of 2025, no doubt. This being said, the market has been extremely volatile leading up to this. We saw the Trump pump, which saw a fantastic November, a great first start to December for the first 2 weeks of December. And then come those Fed announcements on the 18th of December, the market humbled and had those pullbacks. All in all, though, the Trump victory in the 2024 election has been fantastic for cryptocurrency investors. Whether that continues in 2025 is anyone's guess. There will be a lot of policy shifts and a lot of these things will cause rapid changes in the market. To conclude, watch out for January 20. Put a strategy in place for what you're looking to do. If you are in profit in your positions and you're looking to consider profit taking, we do allow stop limits for the vast majority of coins at Caleb & Brown, and your broker can help you with any profit-taking strategy you wish to deploy. All in all, though, we're excited for an optimistic 2025. Cryptocurrency is looking significantly better at the start of this year than it has for the last 2 years. We're past the despair that we saw post-FTX. The Biden war on crypto does seem to be coming to an end, and Trump, if he sticks true to his word, will be seeing a very optimistic period for Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency market ahead. Thank you very much, all the best, and until next time.